Welcome to I Am Goddess Collective podcast, a sacred space for empowerment through modern magic, spiritual activism, and reclaiming your power. I am your host, Nixie Marie, feng shui practitioner, earth activist, and mystic, here to support and inspire your journey in becoming the change you wish to see in this world. That change starts within. Join myself and fellow thought leaders, metaphysical experts, and luminaries each week as we explore practical and magical ways to living in your highest alignment. Your journey as an empowered goddess begins here. Let's dive in. Hello, sisters. Welcome back. We are back flying through the stars with our lovely resident astrologer, Mimi Truong. Hello, beautiful.
Hello. So happy to be back once again.
I love our episodes and sitting with you, and it really brings me to this like grounded sense of like preparation. You know, it's like we've got this, we're getting prepared, you know, and I my Virgo moon loves being prepared. So hence, it is Virgo season. We are in September, so happy September, sisters. I'm super excited to dive into what we are going to be experiencing this month as Mimi will deliver up all the juicy details. So let's get into that, Memes. What's going on?
Yeah, September, schools, it has already started for a lot of people. So I'm sure your listeners are, feeling that, summer is like over, but it's just time for going back to work and doing the things like the mundane, because that's what Virgo's about. It's the mundane, the day-to-day. And building habits that actually works for you this year. And it's so funny, we start the new year having these resolutions and all that stuff. But Virgo season really helps us remind ourselves of, okay, well, you had these resolutions in the beginning of the year. Now really check in on what are you doing on a day-to-day in your schedule that actually it fits in those resolutions that you've declared in the beginning of the year. So this is a really good time to check in, actually. You
know what? It's funny you said that, because before we began recording, I was going to say like, oh my gosh, we have 3 more months to the year, and we should probably talk about that on the podcast to just remind everybody like, hey, there's 3 more months in the year. Oh my gosh. But
I know.
Yeah. Wow.
This year gone by so fast.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my goddess. Well, yeah, it is. It's like getting back to, I do remember that a lot of my goals were, my intention was to travel, and I feel like I definitely got to travel a lot so far. But I'm going to be traveling at the end of the year a little bit more. So what were some of your goals that you had this year?
I remember the beginning of this year, even though I talked about, oh my gosh, right? It's really about the beginning of the year was really rough for me, I've got to say, because now you're bringing me back to all the feelings that I've had in the beginning of the year, and it's just been tough. And that's what I was struggling with, is what do I want to create in 2019? I spent the entire January figuring that out. And I think along the way, the process of getting clearer at the end of it is what I got around my business. Like, how do I expand? How do I continue serving more people? And at the end of the day, creating a structured coaching program. And I'm definitely much closer to it than I was in the beginning of the year. And, not to put too much pressure on a lot of people, because sometimes we feel so much pressure to have to know what it is that we're going to do for the upcoming year. Like, some people have clear resolutions. Some people don't. Some people have clear resolutions, but don't even end up fulfilling it. And some people have unclear resolutions, but somehow discover it along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I'm just talking it out loud because, yeah, so often are we feeling that pressure of having to have the answers. And I think like this season of Saturn and Capricorn taught me so much about patience in the discovery process.
Yeah.
In creating the structure that will really support me in my career. And I didn't know that. Like, I really have to be honest with you that I thought I knew, but I had no idea. But I really allowed myself to go through asking, well, what is it? And, you know, it's getting clearer for sure. It's not all the way out of the gate yet, not yet, but I think I'm much closer. What about you? What was your resolution?
Well, I mean, I had a lot. I always have very ambitious goals and resolutions and intentions. But I think the truth of the matter is, for me, I always create an intention and a couple words that are going to usually embody my entire year. And I remember, oh, there it is. My word was embodiment and embrace. And for me, I think, you know, I knew I was stepping into my Saturn return. And so I was really like, okay, I get to embrace all of it because I kind of have no idea what's going to come forth. But I knew intuitively, but I wasn't quite sure, you know, is everything going to fall apart? Because I hear so many stories, you know, okay, my Saturn return, like I lost a baby or I lost it, like so many big life-changing things. But for me, it was really rooted in coming back to the earth and grounding in all of the, you know, visions that I have. And so I'm still in it, you know, I'm still figuring it out. But for me, it was really just like embracing whatever is to come and knowing that I'm on the journey and really, you know, using my voice more. That was like a big one for me, like saying no, you know, taking that break for the podcast, realizing like I needed time to sit with all these transformations that were happening on the inner and the outer, and really just being like open to these new up levelings and new changes and new ways of being and not being in resistance to them. So, you know, and then for, you know, business goals and all those things, it was just really to create something where I could have a sense of freedom to travel and, you know, all those things. But at the reality of those things take a lot of time. And so, I didn't, for me, oh my gosh, January until honestly, like the last 2 months was really hard, was really challenging for me. As in, you know, like it was hard because I was realizing that, I was stepping into a bigger role as a leader, as a boss, as a mentor, and all these things that it was like, okay, how am I going to be my best self? And also the challenges that I was met with really brought me to my knees in a lot of ways. And I mean, breakdown city, like it was challenging, but now that I'm on the other side of it, that last Mercury retrograde for me was big. It was like going deep in and then expanding out. So, you know, I think I'm right on track. I think we're all right on track, you know, and I think it's good. It's good that we're having this revisit, you know, of, okay, where were we in the beginning of the year? And now, like, how has that really been this beautiful, like, journey through our years? And, you know, check in, like, okay, are you following through? Do you have, like Mimi said, the structure that's going to...
Yeah. And then September is so much earth sign that will support you in slowing down and getting grounded. All of the personal planets, and when I say personal planets, are all the planets that are close to the sun. So Mercury, Mars, Venus are all going to be in Virgo. And then, you know, obviously the sun is in Virgo. And then, we just had the new moon, October 30. 30th is the new moon in Virgo. So we're coming out, like we're literally starting September right after
August?
a few days. No, August. What did I say? October?
Yeah, I was like, whoa, we just flew through time.
August 30th.
Yes, it is the last month.
Moon, in Virgo. So then as we are entering September, everything is all in Virgo. And then you have still Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn. And then you have Uranus in Taurus. So in the early September, it's just very like grounded, like all this earth sign that's just helping us stay grounded, taking one step at a time, and just shift, doing like the little shifts. And Virgo really rules our habits. So really check in with what are the habits that you're taking on that's serving you, that's helping you staying sane, staying healthy. Virgo rules our wellness. It's the Virgin Mary. It's all about purification. So like cleansing, cleaning up, reorganizing, slow down. This is actually so funny. I was taking notes, and I wrote down, this is actually a really good time to revisit Marie Kondo practices, because I know in the beginning of the year, because of the Netflix episodes, like everybody was doing the Kondo method, but this is actually another good time to go back to it and just check in. Hey, what are some of the loose ends that we cleaned up, or where did we stop? So can we continue, or where did we left off? And then maybe we organize stuff, but we never really drop off the bags of donations, or, there's things that we didn't really trash away. We just kind of reorganize. So this is a really good time to revisit and do those kinds of things.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and also it's like a process, just like we are a process. You don't just like organize your home or clean your home and then you're done. That's why we have consistency in, cleaning, or we have consistency in organizing, and there needs to be a check-in or a detox, or time to go through your paperwork again, because it's piled up again, and I do think that, obviously I believe in so much in space clearing and moving energy and shifting things up in the home so that you can really shift up things in your life. And I think that's beautiful that you kind of brought that back into the Virgo, which is, to me, that's what really Virgo is like the organized, structured sign that really helps us navigate this human experience. And I think we need structure. And you were saying earlier before we started recording that we've been through this process of like figuring out what our structure is. So now we've got it. So what are some things that like you have invited into your daily structures that are supporting you in your success?
Oh my gosh. So I started the bullet journal method on my day-to-day since February, and I've been doing it for like over half a year now, and it has changed my life. So
what is bullet journaling?
So
those that don't know,
for those who don't know, bullet journaling is a method it's really a mindful productivity tool that helps you. It's both a to-do list, journal, and planner. It's a method. It's really a philosophy. It has tools, and there's like what to do and how to do it. But at the end of the day, it's a process, like you said. And that is the structure that helped me, because I'm obsessed with planners, but none of the planners that I've used have really worked for me. You and I both use the passion planner? No, not the passion plan, Panda planner at some point. So that worked for a whole year, but I also realized that there's a lot of pages that were empty. Like it just didn't help me stay on track. But the bullet journal method, and anyone can Google bullet journal. There's actually a whole book on it. This guy created it because, well, he used that tool and then he made it into a book because a lot of people wanted to learn how he stayed organized. And he grew up with ADHD. And that was a tool that helped him stay focused and staying on track. And so because I wanted to learn how to create structure in a new way for myself this year and just check like what is my productivity level, because I tend to take on a lot of projects. If anyone really knows me and you really look at how much I take on, I actually say yes to a lot of things, and sometimes it just I get lost in it. So this tool really helped me stay productive and focused. So that is a game changer for me.
Yeah, I like that bullet journaling. Structure, for me, it's really been a little challenging to get something that's in a routine, the same every day, because my days look oftentimes so different. But I think for me, it just really has to be an hour in the morning. I get that time for me, and that is a non-negotiable, and I had sort of lost that a little bit because I was so busy and I just have to wake up, grab the coffee, get on the computer, and that wasn't working. And it was breaking me down and making me feel stressed out and anxiety, all the things, So for me, I think it's just getting back to the basics of what I know to be true on how that supports me. And just having a little bit of structure back to, I'm really big on time blocking. It's like how I get things done. If I don't sit down in the beginning of my day and write down, okay, from what time is it right now? Okay, it's 8:30. From 8:30 to 11:30, I'm working on, Nixie does cleaning admin tasks, or I'm working on podcast related things, and I have to be very specific on what I'm doing. Otherwise, I will get distracted. Like, I'm a Sagittarius. Anything shiny, I will literally leave whatever I'm doing and go do something else. So, and I mostly work from home. So that also is a big distraction sometimes. And so for me, that's really, really how I invite structure into my day. And I'm super productive. And then by the time it's like 3:30, I'm like, wow, I've already gotten all my big major things done. So now I can take that break, because I usually crash around like 3:30 and my brain just starts to shut down. And I usually like to do something more creative or, something like that. So it feels good to kind of be back to that, because sometimes I forget, I just forget that those things support me. It just happens.
It's really about simple habits. And also, I think I wanted to bring up what's very important for some people to think about in the beginning part of September is reframing your work or your productivity level. And also be able to redefine, is this work that I'm doing worth it for me? Or think about, is the work I'm doing right now adding value to the overall career path and career goal, right? Like, that's really the Uranus and Taurus making that connection with all the Virgo energy that we're experiencing. It really brings forth the reflection or then the change of, okay, wait, I'm spending time doing things that are of a little value. Then how do you remove that out of your time and your schedule? And also a good time to check in with, are you making yourself, if you work for someone, are you making yourself an asset, a valuable employee? And can you at some point, if it's time for review at the end of the year, if your company does year-end review, well, this is a really good time to ask yourself, is all the work that you're doing going to allow you to maybe ask for a raise at the end of the year?
Yeah, and I think, with that being said, what's really coming through right now is like your foundation. as a spiritual being or in your spiritual practice, or, this is a mystical, magical podcast where we talk about magic and also practicalities. And, it's like, how are you creating your day so that you can provide value to your life, everyone around you, your employer, whomever, maybe you are a boss babe, whatever, but that value can come from having structure around the things that bring you soulful experiences. Like, I need that hour in my morning to meditate, to run, to do yoga, to write and journal, to pull a tarot card, whatever. But that structure allows me to show up as my best self.
Yep. Yeah. And literally it's for everyone around you. Like, if you have employees, if you have clients, if even your partner, are you doing the things that really add value to the relationship? And if everything is always erratic, difficult, challenging, then that needs to be completely reevaluated and regrounded.
Yeah. I personally really thrive in structure. I know that it doesn't often come easy for everyone. So, you kind of in the beginning said, pick one thing. So what are some ways like you can really suggest or inspire others who don't really find structure to be the easiest thing, where they consistently find themselves, falling off, just not being able to maintain that consistency? Do you have any advice or guidance for those babies?
It's going back to the Capricorn. It's first commitment, like really commit to consistency and structure in your life. You've got to be okay with saying, okay, this is, because it's wherever you set your intention is wherever you're going to put your attention to. So if you're committing to being structured, then you can choose one thing to do. And it's like, if you know that you're constantly you're a shift shaper.
It's a tongue twister. Shift shaper. Yeah. Say that 20 times really fast.
Shit. Oh my, shape shifter.
It's going to be a shit shaper.
This is hilarious. Then you've got to start realizing, well, what's the price that you're paying for always be inconsistent? Then go, okay, I'm just going to learn one thing. And because when we say, oh, I'm just not that type of person, then you're just going to perpetuate that you're not someone that can create routine or structure in your life. So perhaps maybe that's the first thing, is to change your language and to say, yeah, I'm committing to creating structure in my life. Then start with something that's easy. Right? We tend to, because we've grown into like, oh yeah, I'm a total go-getter. I can do this. Yes, powerful woman. Yes, and what if you did one thing different, but that wouldn't be so hard? It would just be simple. So I started 2 years ago. I committed. My journey is it's a process. So 2 years ago, I've committed to just doing my bed every morning. That was it. Like, I didn't think about my business or anything. I just like, okay, if I can foster and cultivate one thing in my whole life, in my day, I can do differently. And if I can do that consistently, then I can apply the same mindset in other things. So just doing the bed every day, because there are certain things that I do every day, like brushing my teeth, for sure. That's like easy. But now, like, you've got to stretch yourself to what else? Also, I love candles. So I started to create a habit of every time I sit down at my desk, I would light up a candle. And that helps me, invite me, and lures me into working, because then I have a candle burning and it smells good and I want to be at my desk. Whether I'm productive at my desk is a whole different thing, right? But I'm starting to add the little things. trigger that helps me build that cue and that habit. And that's how you build new habits. It's you just create new cues that sends a signal to your brain, okay, this is time to fill in the blank. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, totally. I love that you brought in, making the bed too, because I'm a firm believer in morning rituals, as you guys know. And making the bed, I was just like looking up here. I remember that there's been so many proven statistics on how it actually increases your productivity. And you kind of like wonder, like, how can that really change my life, really? And there's a book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. I think that's how you say it. And according to him, he says that daily bed making becomes a keystone habit, and it's something that kickstarts a chain of other good decisions throughout the day. So it gives you a sense of taking charge and a greater sense of well-being and stronger skills and sticking with the consistency. So, I mean, I love that you said that, because I've probably, it was a little longer than 2 years ago. I think it was listening to like Tim Ferriss's podcast, and he talked a lot about that. And it got me addicted to learning about like other people's morning habits, and how if you study anyone who's successful, they have a really powerful morning practice. And that's really one of them. So, it's really beautiful. And then it ripples down into, let's say, your partner. Now my partner makes the bed. I know he didn't make the bed before we were together because he told me, he's like, no, but you know what? It really makes me feel like I am in charge and I start my day. And it's really cute too, because sometimes I'll get out of bed and I'm going to make the coffee or whatever. And then I'll come back in the room and the bed's made. And I'm like,
yes,
training him right.
Yes.
So it's definitely.
You're right. And the little things makes the big difference.
It really does. Start small. Start in a place where it's easy. You're not setting yourself up for failure, and you can truly feel the difference. But, just like going to the gym, you don't get results by going one time. You've got to stay consistent. Consistency. People ask me all the time, okay, how do you create success? How have you created the success in your business? How have you created the success in a podcast? Have you created success in your life? It's consistency, you guys. Like, that is the key, the secret sauce. That's it. If you can show up every day to something and commit to it, which is so hard. I'm a Sagittarius. I want to do a million things all the time, right? But I mean, that was my biggest challenge. And as you guys know, one of the main reasons why I started a podcast, because I knew it would challenge me in creating that consistency. So you have to go in the places that are uncomfortable sometimes. Consistency isn't easy for me. It doesn't come easy at all. It might seem like it does, but it doesn't. So, you've got to cultivate it. You've got to embody it. You've got to become it. And that's how I think, we create these habits.
Yep. Yes.
Are you going to pull a card for us?
I actually did already. You know what came up?
Mimi's sifting through cards over here. I'm like, ooh, she's got something brewing up for us.
Yeah, the Ace of Wands came out for September. And it's literally about work vigorously towards your goals and opportunities. And I'm like, it's so true. And we have a full moon on the 13th of September, at least here on the Western Hemisphere. Otherwise, there will be the 14th on the other side of the world. It's going to be a full moon in Pisces, actually. Fulfilling your dreams. And it's like new beginnings. Like, really, it's so funny, because Pisces, you would think, oh, it's soft, it's gentle. Yes, it's dreamy and all that stuff. But it really invites that intuition to just go with the flow, because, so much like that work energy and productivity is coming through. Yeah, work hard. It's like the time to work hard. And during that full moon in Pisces, people who work hard is because they can sustain it and be able to rest Pisces invites that rest and to just have this rhythm and flow, and all the hard work will fulfill that dream that you've had, these goals that you had. Full celebration during the September 13th. Also, two other cards came out when I pulled these cards. The Six of Swords. It's all about balance and well-being. So Virgo, again, rules our wellness and our health, because if we can consistently take care of our health, like taking vitamins daily, not just once in a while, working out, it might not be every day, but if you're committing to every week, then do it every week, and then you can increase, right? So it's all that creating that beautiful balance. Also, we're moving into Libra season too at the end of September. So this is like a really beautiful, navigating from Virgo season and into Libra season, because Libra season is fall equinox. It's all about balance and harmony. So when you work hard, but there's an integrated process of self-care while working, because Virgo rules eating well and sleeping. So you got to sleep. It's not just work. Then that's how you create that balance. When we go into Libra season, it's like, this beautiful recalibration, living harmoniously in your work, in your relationships. And then the Eight of Wands came out, prosperity, moving at great speed. It's that beautiful, powerful 8 number, like power and abundance. So if you work hard, you take care of yourself, you're not depleting your energy, then you're going to start seeing that elevated momentum that, all the effort you put in, eventually you'll reap the rewards when we go into harvest season.
Yes, harvest season.
Yeah, but we're not in harvest
so fast.
season.
I know. Not there yet, ladies.
Yeah, but this is the period before harvest season. So this is a time for you to really check in with yourself and say, okay, am I putting in the work now so that I can harvest something in a month or so? It's not waiting for that month to come and then it won't magically harvest itself.
No, you got to put in the work. You got to work, girls.
Yes. Yep.
Work. Yeah. Well, we've got a busy month ahead then.
Yeah, very busy month. And then September 18, Saturn moving out of retrograde, going direct. So that's what we talked about in the beginning. We've done a lot of internal reassessment since April when Saturn went into retrograde. And then during the most of spring and summer, if a lot of us felt like we might be taking a few steps back, and then reevaluating what's working, what's not working. And then now that Saturn, when it goes out direct, it's like, okay, we figured out what wasn't working and we figured out what needs to happen. Now, when Saturn goes direct, we can implement this structure, this process, and like putting it to work and move, and that's going to support us to move it forward.
Yeah. Exciting.
Yeah, so it's the discipline. And now I remember my word for the year is discipline. I'm wearing it on my wrist every day, and it helps me remind myself, okay, just keep doing it. Like I have to cheer myself on and say, just keep doing it, keep doing it.
Discipline is not easy. Let's be honest.
No.
Especially when you are an entrepreneur and you can create your own schedule. It's really easy to slip into habits that are not conducive to your goals, and I think the only way through that is discipline, because, you've got to learn to say no to the social gatherings. Maybe sometimes you've got to learn to, create discipline throughout your day so that you're actually doing things that are productive, and discipline even in your spiritual practice, discipline so that you can have that sense of, I filled myself up first, before I stepped into my business or my career or my family or, my relationship. And I think that's, it's a challenge, but I really believe that, we've learned up until a certain point, like how to have these habits. And we know how to break them. We know how to create them. But this month really feels like we're going to be redirecting our discipline and remembering that we've created this structure and this foundation to continue moving forward.
Yeah. And it's the process of mastering. Saturn in Capricorn is mastering. So that's the commitment, commanding your own authority of what you have committed to helps you through the journey of mastery. Also, one more thing that I keep forgetting to talk about in the full moon in Pisces, I read somewhere that says it's either you serve or you suffer. Because Virgos is the act of service, and Pisces, if it's not well adapted, it can suffer. So oftentimes we're a slave to our bills, we're a slave to our jobs, or we're a slave to whatever it is, instead of finding, well, how can we be of service through our business, through our work, and the work that we do, it's bringing back to our why. Because if we feel like we're a slave to that, then we're going to end up suffering. And that's the negative side of Pisces. So you can either celebrate when it comes time for that full moon, or we can experience that pain that, oh, it didn't work out. And then, I'm saying earlier, there's a lot of positive energy, like momentum and hard work and achieving our goals for September. But there's also parts of September as we're transitioning into Libra season. There's going to be some, like Venus and Mercury are moving into Libra. So at some point, they're going to square Saturn and Pluto. And that's going to create a lot of tension. And that's what we got to remember, that, yes, things can go well, and we're going to constantly be met with challenges. And so the Libra Capricorn tension, it's all about, breaking through the tension between, are you working in collaboration and creating harmony, but within some sort of regulations or confined of rules or something like that, right? So it's finding that and be able to negotiate. Like sometimes rules can be like hard rules and regulations. And Libra loves to debate, and seeing both sides of things. Capricorn's like, no, this is the rule of law. Like, you've got to follow that. So at the end of September, there's going to be that tension, whether it's in our personal relationships or it could be at work. So just be careful with that and know that there is a way to work through that. And it's finding that balance and being clear about, well, what are you in a stand for? If you're going to advocate for something, make sure you're advocating with, commitment and not being, confronted by the authority that says, no, you can't. So that's something to work through at the end of September. And then we have another new moon. Well, we have a new moon in September, only one. I'm just thinking about another because we just talked about the August one. But September 28th, we have a new moon in Libra. So time for, the whole Libra season of October, really a big part of October. It's like so funny. And then, Libra the sun goes into Libra September 23rd. So a lot of relationships, focusing on partnership, collaboration, fairness, harmony. So maybe we work hard and then finally we can socialize after.
Well, there is a time for that. Yeah, there is a time for putting your head down and getting to work and then going to celebrate. And, you know, and I do have to say too, I think it's important to remember that, you know, work isn't the only thing that we're here to do, you know, and it's important to take time, take breaks, you know, and fill your cup up with your friends and the people that you love. And so I think that that's something to keep in mind as we go into this really heavy structured September.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Well, Mimi, that's a lot. Thank you so much. I love the habits. I mean, habits are my thing. Habits, and creating that consistency and discipline, all the things necessary to really set ourselves up for success in life. So thanks, girl. Delivered up all that goodness. Well, before we wrap up, where can everyone find you? Even though I think they might know, but for those new listeners here, where can everybody find you? Mimi's our resident astrologer. She's on every month telling us all the goods for the astrological insights. So
yeah, you can find me on my website, www.igzolted.com. That's IGZOLTED. And on Instagram with the same handle, Exalted.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested in getting your chart read, if you've never had your chart done before, Mimi definitely will make it fun and playful and laugh with you. And I love doing readings, and it really brings you back to who you are, you know, at the end of the day. So lots of conversations about astrology lately here on the podcast. Very excited to explore the stars and all the mystical things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and you guys know where to find us if you have any questions or you want to continue this conversation further. Check out our private Facebook group. I am Goddess Collective, and if you have any questions for Mimi, you can definitely ask there. So I love you so much. Thank you so much, Mimi, for coming on the show, as always.
I love you too, and I love all of your listeners. Thanks for having me.
Yes. All right, sisters. I love you. I see you. I hear you. Until next time. Bye for now. Well, now seems like a very perfect time to share with you guys my favorite app of all time called Yoga Wake Up. You know that I'm huge on morning rituals and getting your day started on the right side of the bed. So this is how I begin my day in Slay. I wake up to an amazing yoga practice or meditation, and it really creates and sets the tone of the rest of my day. So this is the app called Yoga Wake Up, and it is an app that replaces your annoying beeping alarm clock with, again, like I said, yoga and meditation. I literally cannot recommend this app enough. It is literally a game changer, and I've truly been able to transform my life by starting my day with mindfulness and intention. So head on over to bit.ly/goddess yoga wake up to get 25% off your entire year's worth of subscription. And again, that's bit.ly/goddess yoga wake up to receive 25% off a yearly subscription. Wake up and slay.